Alright guys, TacticalRab again today. Hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. The Burger Bowl, Blow It Up Bowl, Friday Elimination Day is done and dusted. 5 teams eliminated for the tournament. Some big scalps, however, taken today and some surprises in store as well. Los Angeles Thieves out of the tournament in top 12 after showing some recent glimpses of performance. What is going on in that camp? Miami as well, 0 map wins on land this year, the same as myself and the rest of you guys watching. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I greatly appreciate it. First of all, big news actually of the day, that from 25th to the 29th of March, Vista and Departures will be added to ranked to be tested. Departures is interesting. This is not the map that I actually thought was meant to be designed for competitive, but apparently it was made with some sort of ideas in mind. So that'll be in the game for a brief period, as most certainly will Vista. That's a map that I think is pretty damn good. I think it's gotta be in the map pool, and fair play to Treyarch actually preempting this a little bit and just chucking it straight in the game. The pros will test that over the next couple of weeks if they haven't already. The feeling is that's going to be in the map set. What it replaces in the map set may well depend on how this tournament concludes and what maps teams like, because there are some bad maps in this game, but teams still like to play them, so that raises questions. We've got to talk about the games though. Here are the Seattle Surge guys looking actually kind of happy going into today, but never fall for any of this cheese, you know, like when they tweet out a picture and the team's vibing, it never means anything, especially with their performance today. But firstly, Boston, Minnesota Rocker. Not gonna lie, kind of cooked on predictions today, apart from Thieves, and we will get into them. But this is an interesting one, because I definitely felt like Boston was stronger in the hardpoint game modes, but they played this map set, exactly the same map set, back in the qualifiers. They played Invasion, Invasion, Invasion. Boston won game 1 Invasion, just like they did once they played again. They then played, and this was dominant actually as well, Asim had a great map here, Snoopy had some moments, Priestahh had a phenomenal map 1, Rocker got slammed, and I was like, damn, maybe I shouldn't have picked Rocker to win this one, but the Search and Destroy and Invasion Search does go Rocker's way, just like it did when they played online. The only difference in the series was that one went to 5, and they played a Karachi Search that Boston dominated. This time, Rocker pulled it towards a Rio Search, we'll get into. This is why this Boston team annoys me so much. They should be pretty good, to be honest, right? I mean, the team on paper, there's some questionable roster building that went into this season. I just don't understand why they thought Capsidal Snoopy with Priestahh and Dashy was going to work at the start of the season. The Asim move, I still kind of like it, but look, this AR duo just doesn't work. Something's got to give. Something will give after this tournament, because they've put a lot of money and resources into this team. But what annoys me about Snoopy is that he's so talented, and you can see it from clips like this. He just slides out, shells Vivid, gets the kill with half a second on the clock, like, just a crazy moment there. And I thought it was funny, because I said earlier today, like, when has Snoopy really given you a highlight this season, despite his obvious talent? And then he just is an absolute highlight reel for the first couple of maps of the series, but that did quieten down, as potentially expected, right? And that's the thing. Snoopy can do it, but he just doesn't do it anywhere near consistently enough with the other factors in his gameplay that make him seem like a mainstay for the team. Now, to be fair, young, very highly talented player that Boston are trying to build their franchise around, are they going to get rid of him? I still think it's kind of unlikely, but would I be surprised if they did? No, I think anything is on the table after this major. Now, another moment here, I don't know if this is just classic Florida or whatever, but during the control of this series that Rocker dominated a quick 3-0 on the Invasion, I was listening and I thought I could hear something in the background that sounded like a fire alarm in Maven's, you know, microphone. But I was like, ah, surely it can't be. It must just be some other noise from the crowd or something, because otherwise they'd be talking about it. But no, turns out the fire alarm was going off. There was then an emergency in play. Everyone was evacuating the venue, with the exception of one man, Mr. Donovan Temp, we'll see him in a second. And yeah, an emergency has been declared. Basically, a fire alarm situation that was thankfully a false alarm. But of course, after the events of Thursday, the feeling was, damn, like, you know, what's going on here, right? It was a bit concerning, obviously. Thankfully, they're all good, but still, it's not great, is it? You're playing on main stage, the fire alarm goes off. One of these events that we have nowadays. But Donny Tev, I thought this was pretty funny, right? So here he is. He was dropping a nuke, shall we say, in the restaurants here, and he decided, you know what? Yeah, we could get a nuke dropped on us. I ain't leaving for this. It's not going to work out. So yeah, Tev stood his ground. He stood on business, or, you know, he stood on someone else maybe. While the challenger side was progressing. I also saw some discussion that for whatever reason today, PC delays, stuff like that, they've not really made any progress on Challengers Bracket today, and I don't know how they're going to get through this Challengers Bracket tomorrow, but it's going to be an absolute mess. So, just more problems here at this event. But Boston, again, they dominate the sub-base. This was a map that they also beat Rocket on when they played online, but that time it was a Karachi map 5, this time it was a Rio map 5, and that was a very different story. Just a huge momentum-shifting 1v3, just like Kismet did, right, the other day when he clutched the 1v3, that changed the momentum. Vivid catches a timing kill, Slasher gets the final one. You know, I'm not sure Boston massively misplayed it. I think it was just a good play from Vivid, but still, it wasn't the ideal play by any means. And they run away with this game 5. Rocket knock out Boston. It's funny, really, because I thought going into this series that if it went game 5, I felt like Minnesota would win, although all the evidence pointed against that based on the online stage. But, I mean, at some point they had to win a game 5, right? And Boston, especially on LAN, it's interesting because to me, the Slasher search and destroy system with the players they have should work, but it doesn't. And you can argue that looking back at Slasher's career, he tends to flip-flop between a good season and a bad season, and then a good season and a bad season, and maybe that's happening here now. Would I get rid of him from the team? No. I still think that if I would try and build around Slasher, potentially if I were to make some roster changes, and you've got to make some roster changes because they're now top 12 at 4 straight tournaments, Boston. That is embarrassingly bad for an organization. This is what I find kind of sad about this. Like, Boston are a great organization. They really try, you know, they run great events. They really want to help the COD scene. They do everything right. They pay big money to sign the players that they wanted to get, but the roster building was suboptimal. I think the way that they structured it on paper wasn't too bad. Like, the Slasher pickup, realistically, was he the best free agents in veteran AR possible? Yes. Did I really like the Priestahh thing? Not necessarily. The SMG duo had its questions, but definitely they had the ceiling as well. That they're top 12 again, right? So it's just tough. I think, honestly, first of all, you've got to look at the decision makers. Zed and Dens can tweet what they like, but the spotlight's got to be on them at this point, I would say. And you don't see this every day. Boston having the green carpet because they dominated the hard points, but losing in a 2-3-5 Neslo means that accuracy had a 0.77 for the win. The entire team went negative, but that does not tell the picture of what happened in the game 5, especially when it came down to search and destroy, it was not close. So Boston out of the tournament straight away, but then we have to talk about the big upset really of the day. Gorillas versus the Los Angeles Thieves. Thieves, I thought they'd win this one as they did online, and I thought they'd carry that through to the rest of the day as well. And it started off pretty well. I mean, Nastie was fry in this game 1. SGL got absolutely twerked on. I don't know why I've said that again for the second time in a couple of days, but I don't know, we'll run with it. We go through phases of these things. And game 1, it was a dominant, right? Thieves just dominated it. Nastie was going off. Ghosty, Kremp all had great maps. It looked like, okay, business as usual. The question that I had was, why are we playing, if we're Thieves, high-rise search and destroy and high-rise control? Jacob had to defend these decisions after the series in terms of the vetoes, but I just thought it was kind of strange. Gorillas love this map. You know, this is their bread and butter search and destroy map. Do you want to play them on it? I know that Thieves must have liked it. They took it to around 11, but I'm not sure that was the wisest choice. I'd always put my money on Gorillas to win this map. They did in the round 11. Then they played a high-rise control where Gorillas are also kind of nice. And then all of a sudden, Thieves are relying on winning 2 hardpoints in a series. And we know that their hardpoint records still isn't great. Both Afro and especially Kremp have really bad, but well, especially Kremp had a really bad map here for. He's definitely inconsistent, Kremp. This is his first bad map in a bit of time, though. Get put in the blender on the sub-base. And like, if you're losing a sub-base to Gorillas, it just ain't great at all. So Ghosty tried his absolute best, man, but it wasn't enough. Gorillas slam Thieves out of the tournament. The curse continues for them, especially on LAN, the Thieves versus Gorillas curse, where Gorillas have always beat them. It happens again with a now entirely different roster. And from a team where, I mean, let's not forget, right, these Thieves guys were looking, I mean, I said yesterday, they might be the 5th best team. They just took FaZe the distance. They probably should have beaten them. They took down Gorillas online very recently, or took down Vegas online recently, as they did Gorillas. So they were looking good. I think one of the factors in play here, though, was the fact that the Gorillas guys had something to prove in this series. the Thieves boys had talked some trash on them after beating them online, so they got that ready. And Salt says, go get some dope on the plane ride home. I'm pretty sure also it was SGL tweeting some trash as well. We also had Fame, who said in the post-game interview here with Ace that they talked a lot of smack and we just shut them up. So yeah, Thieves definitely caught that one. And Jacob afterwards was trying to explain some of the decisions in this for the veto side and says, yeah, heartbreaking and embarrassing. And look, if they'd have come in this tournament, Thieves, and got top 6, and let's say they'd have lost to, a Subliner. So I think actually they would have played maybe OpTic or Toronto in the brackets. But yeah, let's say that happens and they think, you know what, top 6, it's all right. We can work with that. That's a good step forward as a team. But getting 0 points here is rough, right? Other teams are going to get big points this weekend. They've done okay on LAN, Thieves, and now they're still going to find themselves a little bit away from the World Championship qualifications, I'd imagine. So we know that after this major, it's time to blow it up, and I think Thieves are definitely included in that. Afro tweets this out as well, says, this isn't me at all. I'm so much better than this, not playing at my level. But look, Afro's had enough sample size now, and it's not working out. Afro, I'm expecting him to go. But I don't know whether a one-man change is enough at this point. I think they've got to really consider it. Ghosty ain't going anywhere. I don't think Nastie should go anywhere. And Kremp has shown glimpses, right? So I guess there's a big question on Jacob and Shane what they do at this point. But losing to Gorillas like that is just, it just shows that they ain't anywhere near where they need to be on a consistent basis. So Gorillas advancing the tournament to play Minnesota Rocket. We'll discuss that series tomorrow. But we then have to talk about, baby, the Miami Heretics. I got a bit of flack on our pre-show today for actually picking Ravens to win this one because they had looked shocking online. But it's a different story on LAN. And I knew it was going to be a different story on LAN, not just for Ravens, but also for Miami. For a guy like Clay, when it comes to getting the job done in a LAN environment, he's always going to be there for it. And Clay's series today, his KD today, was the first time he's dropped a 1.3 in over 3 years, which I don't know whether that's like, whether that's I'm giving him props there or it's like a bit of a jab, but still, you've got to say fair enough. And maybe he wasn't playing the hottest competition, but they're still technically pro players, Miami. But look, the experiments failed. These guys can play okay COD online, but when it comes to LAN, it's an entirely different story. Ravens just crushed them, and this is another round here where Clay probably should not have won. ErikBooM had a good opportunity here. There was no time to get the defuse done. Clay wins this round. He clutched another great round as well here just before this, actually. I'll share that one for you guys. When, it was in this moment, I'm pretty sure, when he clutched this against Vikul, gets this kill in the 1 versus 2. Actually, that was just afterwards, of course, right, to get it to 4v4, to 4-4 in the game. And here he goes, talking trash across the main stage. This is what you love about Clay. This is why I'm like, look, Clay, please continue to fry, because he's still got it in him, obviously. It's just online. I don't know, it just doesn't work, and I wish online COD wasn't a thing anymore, so we get to see guys like Clay back on LAN all the time. It'd be so much better for them as well as the fans, and it just feels frustrating when you watch 5 weeks of Clay getting smoked online, and then he comes to LAN and drops a 1.3. It's like, because he's got the energy, he's got the passion, like that's what it's all about, that's what you're there for, and I imagine it's difficult to unlock that online, so it's frustrating to me that we don't get this all the time, but what we do have maybe is Miami just being an absolutely terrible LAN team. Clay was talking all sorts of trash during the series as well, and completely deservedly so, because what do you want to say about this Miami team? They get smoked out in 3 maps by Ravens of all teams, and Ravens are playing terrible online, but they come to LAN and it wasn't even close. Quick 3-0, Clay throws it up as well, Philo throws it up as well. This is what it's all about, right? Like, I live for when I see Clay throw up the 3-0s, like, this is what it's all about as a COD fan, to be honest. I hope that isn't the last time that Clay throws up the 3-0s. It might be. When it happened last year, I thought, damn, is this the last time Clay's going to be throwing the 3-0s up on main stage? He's done this for years now. And no, it wasn't. And hopefully there'll be more to come. And who knows what will happen tomorrow, Vegas versus Ravens in that series. But 0 in 12 on LAN this year, Heretics. I have the same map win percentage or whatever as Heretics this year on LAN, as do all of you guys. And what do you even do at this point? Even as Clay says, I don't know what that was. Like, those guys were just tragic on LAN, I guess, is the implication there. So it's pretty, and also as I guess Chris says, to be fair, Vegas, or Miami, sorry, is still on a decent point for champs, right? They've still got a fair few points online, but, if they keep getting slammed on LAN, it ain't going to work for them. They've started in winners both times, and they've lost 0-3, 0-3 on both occasions now, so they've got to do something. Look, people will say, blow it up, get rid of the Spanish thing, do something else. They probably ain't going to do that, but yeah, it's not pretty. We need to move on quickly from this. And the final series we're going to discuss in this one was Vegas versus Surge. I was hoping that Vegas would get the win here. Just said definitely the better team than Surge, and it went pretty much exactly how I thought it would do. Vegas win the game 1. Surge, good search and destroy team. They win the search, and then it doesn't matter. They close out the series. Game 3, game 4, Vegas get the win. So not even too much to say. Very predictable. There's questions on this Surge team. aBeZy played well at the start of the year. That hasn't really, persisted, shall we say. And also, especially on this final map, really. And also over the series, again, we did have RCT's, least damage, least kills on his team. But a great bounce back here today from Attach. 1.4 KD he dropped. Geo and Purging the slight negative, but much better from Purge today. And then Nero had a great series. Couple of overheat moments, as he likes to do. But apart from that, it was all guns blazing. So that's where we're going to leave it for today. Some great trash talk on Miami Heretics, but I think they've got a lot to think about. I think that certainly the Los Angeles Thieves have a lot to think about, and I'm sure conversations will be being had tonight at the bars around the venue discussing what changes are going to happen. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.